officers put out a video restating the law that's in the Uniform Code of Military Justice, that if you're given an order that's illegal, according to the UCMJ, you have the ability to push back on that order. Legal orders should always be followed, right? I'm just talking about illegal orders. We had a ton of folks in uniform and a lot of veterans come to us and raise real concerns about things that they were asked to do or things that they were concerned they might be asked to do, particularly with the deployments of the National Guard and uniformed military into our city streets, places like Chicago, and the strikes in the Caribbean against drug cartels. The legality, particularly on the going after the drug cartels, it's a secret list of groups that we're now in armed conflict with, and it's based on a legal explanation that's classified and not available to the operators who are carrying out these strikes. So they started coming to us and saying like, hey, I'm not sure what to do. Do you have any thoughts? Do you have any advice? And that's where the video came from. This is unfortunately not a hypothetical conversation. In 2020, President Trump didn't like the unarmed protesters that were in front of the White House in Lafayette Square, and he suggested to his Secretary of Defense and his Chairman of the Joint Chiefs in the Oval Office, can't they just, quote, shoot at the legs of the unarmed protesters? Secretary of Defense and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, I give them a lot of credit. They knew immediately that would meet the definition of an illegal order, and they got out of there as fast as possible so that he didn't demand and try and get them to carry out that order. But here's the thing, regardless of whether you agree with the video or don't agree with the video, the question to me is this the appropriate response for a president of the United States to go after and seek to weaponize the federal government against those he disagrees with? We're not the first group of people that he's done that with. We are not going to be the last group of people to do that. He's tweeted dozens of times about us in the past 72 hours or so, as has the vice president, saying that we should be arrested, we should be tried, we should be convicted, and made clear repeatedly that the sentence for that crime would be hanging. He's repeated that over and over, both in his statements and in memes. Because of that, we saw an immediate and massive uptick in the number of death threats that we got. I mean, we couldn't, hundreds, it's got to be past thousands now, both in calls to our office, in emails. The Capitol Police and the Sergeant of Arms decided to put myself and others on 24/7 security. They're here today. We had a bomb threat at my family farm where I live. My family has been harassed. It's been an immediate change to our life. And then last night, the Counterterrorism Division at the FBI sent a note to the members of Congress saying they are opening what appears to be an inquiry against the 6 of us. To be honest, the president's reaction and the use of the FBI against us is exactly why we made the video. He believes in using the federal government against his perceived adversaries, and he's not afraid to use the arms of the government against people he disagrees with. He does not believe the law applies to him. He has said that every which way to Sunday, which is exactly why we made the video, to give people some assurance that they weren't alone as they watch this stuff unfold. This is a scare tactic by him. He is attempting to use the FBI to scare us out of continuing to talk and have conferences like this. And I think it is a well-worn tactic of people who are trying to intimidate adversaries, their perceived enemies, out of public criticism of themselves. And again, this is not about any one video or even one sentence out of a video. This is about who we are as Americans, how we're going to engage with each other, whether we're going to use law enforcement and the military to target legally people who say things That is basic freedom of speech and restating existing law. Now, obviously, you hear I have a cold, but regardless of that and the attempts to intimidate us, that is not going to stop me or anyone else who made this video. In fact, I think it's more important than ever, given that he's used this same tactic on the private sector, on law firms, on universities. We are not the first group and we are not the last group that he is going to use the arms of the government. And again, if he's going to use the FBI against members of Congress, what would he do to average citizens who don't have that elected cover? So it's not going to stop me. It's not going to stop others. I feel strongly that we were doing what we believed was right based on our oath of office to the Constitution. And if he wants to use the FBI and Kash Patel against us, that is his choice, but it just reaffirms